The laughter started quietly, like the rustling of paper in a room that had been silent too long. It began when the elevator doors opened and the old man stepped out. He wore faded blue work boots, the leather cracked from years of use. His jeans were clean but worn thin at the knees, and his jacket looked like something someone might wear while fixing a fence on a cold morning. In a building filled with polished shoes, tailored suits and sharp cologne, he looked like he had walked into the wrong place. The lobby of Walker & Bright Industries was bright with marble floors and glass, walls that reflected success from every angle. Executives moved quickly through the space, carrying laptops and important conversations. When the old man stepped forward slowly, leaning slightly on the railing near the reception desk, people noticed. And then they smiled. Not kind smiles, the kind that come from quiet judgment. The receptionist looked up at him with polite confusion. She glanced at his boots first. "Sir," she said gently, "this building requires an appointment." The old man nodded slowly, his eyes calm and thoughtful. His face carried the lines of someone who had spent most of his life under the sun, rather than under fluorescent lights. "I'm here for the meeting," he said. She blinked. "What meeting?" "The board meeting," he replied. A young executive standing nearby overheard the conversation. He leaned toward his colleague and whispered loud enough to be heard. "Looks like someone's grandfather got lost on the way to a construction site." They chuckled. The old man didn't react. He simply rested his hands on the counter and waited patiently. The receptionist checked her computer again. "I'm sorry, sir. The board meeting is private. Only executives and investors are allowed upstairs." "I understand," the old man said quietly. "They're expecting me." More laughter drifted through the lobby. One man in a sleek grey suit walked past and muttered under his breath, "Maybe he's here to fix the plumbing." The elevator doors opened again, and several senior executives stepped out, talking about numbers and quarterly projections. Among them was Daniel Bright, the CEO, a tall man in his 40s, known for his sharp mind and even sharper decisions. As he approached the reception desk, the old man lifted his head slightly. "Morning," the old man said. Daniel glanced at him briefly, distracted. "Morning." He turned to the receptionist. "Is everyone here yet?" She hesitated. "Well, everyone except—" Her eyes flicked toward the old man. Daniel followed her gaze. For a moment, his expression showed mild irritation, then curiosity. "You're here for the meeting?" Daniel asked. "Yes," the old man replied calmly. Another executive behind Daniel smirked. "Maybe he's delivering coffee." A few people laughed again. Daniel sighed impatiently. "Sir, this is a private corporate meeting." "I know," the old man said softly. "That's why I came." Something about the way he said it made Daniel pause. The old man reached into the inside pocket of his jacket and pulled out a folded envelope. The paper looked ordinary, but he handled it with careful hands. "Would you mind giving this to the board?" he said. Daniel frowned but took the envelope. Perhaps he assumed it was a complaint, or maybe an old employee with a pension issue. He opened it casually. Then he stopped breathing for a moment. The laughter in the lobby slowly faded as Daniel read the document again. His posture changed. His shoulders straightened. One of the executives beside him asked, "What is it?" Daniel didn't answer right away. He looked up at the old man with a completely different expression now. Not irritation, respect, and something close to disbelief. You're Mr. Walter Hayes?" Daniel asked quietly. The old man nodded once. The lobby fell silent. Walter Hayes was a name few employees recognized, but every executive in the building knew it. For decades, he had been a quiet investor who had slowly accumulated shares of struggling companies. He never appeared in interviews, never attended conferences, never showed his face in public business circles. But his investment firm had just acquired controlling interest in Walker & Bright Industries 2 weeks earlier, meaning one thing: he now owned the company. The executives who had been laughing seconds earlier suddenly felt their stomachs drop. Daniel cleared his throat. "Mr. Hayes, we didn't expect you in person." Walter smiled faintly. "Most people don't." The young executive who had joked about the construction site stared at the floor. Another one suddenly found his phone extremely interesting. Walter looked around the lobby calmly, his eyes passing over every polished shoe and tailored suit. There was no anger in his expression, only quiet understanding. "I like to see places for myself," he said gently. "You learn a lot that way." Daniel quickly stepped aside and gestured toward the elevator. "Please. The boardroom is upstairs." Walter nodded but didn't move immediately. Instead, he looked down at his boots. "These old things?" he said softly. "I bought them 40 years ago when I started working on oil rigs. Long nights, hard winters." He looked back up at the group. "They remind me where I came from." No one said a word. Walter stepped into the elevator with Daniel beside him. The doors closed slowly. As they rose toward the top floor, Daniel finally spoke. "I apologize for how you were treated downstairs." Walter shrugged gently. "People often judge what they see first." Daniel nodded quietly. "What they don't realize," Walter continued, "is that character doesn't wear a suit." The elevator opened to the executive floor. The boardroom doors were waiting. Inside, the future of the company was about to change. But downstairs in the lobby, something else had already changed. The employees who had laughed earlier now stood in complete silence, replaying every word they had said, because the old man in work boots had just taught them something none of their expensive suits ever could. True worth is not something you wear. It is something you build.